Good afternoon. Great to have you back. During our last session that we met online, we discussed about the syllabi for the course, certainly office hours, how you can get in contact with me via email, also by phone, office hours and those respective times, and how to get a hold of me if you cannot reach make those corresponding office hours, of course. Today, what I would like to do is spend a little bit of time discussing about the definition of organic chemistry, which is the whole basis for the course that we will be studying. Organic chemistry is defined as the study of the element of carbon and its compounds. Now, if you look at the periodic table, the element carbon is sort of on the left-hand side of the periodic table. And with that being said, it has two numbers, a 12 and a 6, and a symbol of the element C. The 12 is known as the atomic mass, and the bottom number 6 is known as the atomic number, and C certainly is the element symbol. We discussed last class as a review of general chemistry what the 12 and the 6 correspond to, and that's particularly important, certainly for all elements that we're going to actually study, not just carbon. But in any event, let's look at this definition of organic chemistry. We said that we will define it as a study of the element of carbon and its compounds. Why? Why just the element carbon? Well, carbon can actually form tremendous amounts of compounds. There's about 10 million compounds that are identified to date, and there are tremendous amounts of possibilities for the future. Just on this one element here. The carbon and its compounds affect our daily lives in general in so many different ways, from medicines to plastics to food. It touches our lives every day. So it's a very important branch of chemistry. With that being said, we've defined organic chemistry, but let's take a step back. How was it originally defined previously? Well, it's actually kind of an interesting story. Anything organic was defined as something that either derived from a living being, a living thing, or was excreted or given off from a living thing. Okay, so such as an animal's excrement. That's an organic, contains organic compounds, but it came from a living animal or a living thing. But things such as rocks, they were defined as the word inorganic at that time because they really didn't contain the element carbon so much, and they weren't alive. Okay, so the definition of organic chemistry tended to be the working definition of something organic was alive, derived from something that was alive or is alive, and inorganic is something that is not alive. Well, this certainly came up for a lot of debate because in 1828, a scientist by the name of Frederick Wöhler, German scientist, 1828, went to his shelf in his laboratory and actually pulled this white substance out, just like salt. So if you go to your cabinet and you pull out salt, it's a white crystalline powder, and it has these really different crystals associated, all white. Well, it looks very similar. This substance was called ammonium cyanate. And ammonium cyanate was certainly an inorganic compound. It did contain one unit of carbon, but it contained lots of other elements. But ammonium cyanate was described as an inorganic compound. But with that being said, what he did was something really interesting. Is he took ammonium cyanate, he heated it in a beaker, and something marvelous came about. And that was he formed a new structure. And you don't have to actually worry about the structure. We'll get how to draw structures later on. But this structure is called urea. Yes, urea is the main component in urine. Urine is a material that is usually excreted from the kidneys into the urine and excreted through the body. You're living, therefore you have urea in your urine. You are living. But now we have a problem with the definition because this was inorganic. Remember, inorganic, non-living. And he made something organic, living. So now I hope you see that there is a problem now with the definition, and that we can make something that is life from something that has no life. Well, this definition became known as vitalism, and it's very, very controversial in nature. It invokes a lot of religion. It invokes on how life forms, etc. And debates such as this become very, very hot under the collar, to say the least. In any event, we will pick up a little bit more with this story next class, go into a little bit more about why carbon is so important, how it affects our lives, how it's utilized. And with that being said, if you have any questions, please feel free to email me. Please feel free to call me. I'd be happy to certainly answer any of your concerns, or certainly we can tackle a problem together. Thank you, and have a good evening.